gon' slide, we gon' chill. She said she in love.
What are your thoughts on Anthony Davis in terms of Defensive Player of the Year, for the Lakers? Obviously, I feel like LeBron is starting to get into the mode now that I think that he knows that this Lakers team is going to be good, where he's starting to lobby for guys for awards. And as a guy that that does PR, teams and such, they do lobby for awards. I mean, as everybody does. They do in Hollywood too. Shit. I mean, you see the billboards for your consideration. I mean, you might not even seen that show, but you saw the billboard. But even when you're thinking about that, I feel like Anthony Davis is a guy that's in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. What do you feel is his ceiling with this Lakers team defensively, and also how do you feel about kind of him and Dwight in the same kind of front court, and how do you think it matches up defensively against perimeter guards, which they seem to struggle against?
Yeah, I think he has a good shot because, like you said, it's not always about who's with these awards, it's not always really who's the best or who's the most deserving. Yeah. A lot of it's the narrative, right? Uh-huh. So if LeBron starts pushing Davis now, 20 games in the season, and then the LA media starts picking that up, it becomes like part of the narrative. Yeah. He's kind of playing the four, even though he doesn't like to admit it, because they're starting McGee, and as you mentioned, Howard's playing. So I think the reason I would say he may not deserve it is because he's not really playing center, right? It's McGee and Howard that are actually like the center fielders, or however you want to call it.
Yeah, actually, that's a great argument.
His role he's not having to clean up as much. He's a great defender, and I think he deserves to be in the conversation, but I would argue like a Gobert or an Embiid, they're truly playing center, having to play in that pick and roll defense, having to guard the rim. Davis is getting to kind of relax a little bit more on some fours, but the counter argument might be he does have to do a little bit more in help defense, right? Because the center can kind of just stay under the basket. So there are certain matchups where he's going to have to play more help. So, I mean, he's a hell of a defender, and he deserves to be in the conversation. I don't think he's as good as like Gobert.
Yeah, he still has to guard guys like KP,
right?
And like Porzingis, he still on a night would have to guard a Giannis. Depending upon who he's getting matched up with on the Clippers, he would probably be in a matchup against a Kawhi, or still in a matchup against a Montrez. Like, those are still tough matchups for you to have to deal with in the West. Even Whiteside, I think, occasionally he would probably be matched up on Whiteside. It's funny now that Melo's back in the league. Actually, we got to talk about Melo because I want to know what you think about Melo later.
No.
But
in crunch time, he probably will play center, right?
Yeah.
Like, they don't really play Howard or McGee with 2 minutes left in a close game.
It depends on the matchup. But also, McGee doesn't play late in those matchups, but I do think that LeBron in those instances, AD, Green, Bradley, and Kuzma will probably be on the floor. So AD's going to be the center. So
that's what we got to see now in these. Like you said, we got to see now that they're playing better teams. Yeah. Like, how does Davis do in close games? Yeah. Playing D, but he's definitely in the mix, and I think like the Gobert, the narrative's probably a little tired on him, right? Because he's won the last couple, or at least it was kind of like Kawhi won a few, and then people were like, all right, we got to give it to someone else, and then Draymond Green won a few, and then it's like, okay, let's give it to Gobert now. I think maybe it is Davis's turn, so to speak.
Yeah, and in terms of opponents, in terms of win shares, although I'm not like a huge analytics fan, as you all know, technically LeBron does have a higher defensive win share percentage than Anthony Davis does. So even looking at that matchup, as you said, McGee and those guys do probably take away from that a little bit.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you surprised they're playing so well with the two center lineup? Like, I think a lot of people going into the season were like, Davis needs to be the 5. They can't play like a McGee, or even when they had Cousins or Howard, like, people were like, that's not going to work, and it has.
No, because you can give AD the ball on the perimeter and basically have him like ISO to post up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he can dribble up a little bit and be able to get the ball from the 3 line, get it down to the mid post, and then literally turn around and shoot. Like, even Marcus Smart, he had an article that he dropped in the Players Tribune, and he was talking about the hardest players he's ever had to guard. And Anthony Davis was one of them. He's like, he literally turned around and shot over me, and there was nothing I could do about it. My hand couldn't even get up that high.
But people were worried. I think the other center would clog his space, and that hasn't seemed to be the case.
But they won't really clog his space because of the fact that like I said, he can catch the ball in different spots on the floor. Like, Kevin Love is not a guy that has point guard dribbling skills.
Right.
Anthony Davis is a guy coming out of college that everybody loved and really liked because they said that he could dribble like a point guard, and then he had that growth spurt and became 6'11".
Yeah, he was a point guard in high school.
No, that's what I'm saying. So he can dribble versus Kevin Love, he couldn't dribble like that. But even Chris Bosh, if you saw Chris Bosh on the floor with LeBron and Joel Anthony, it still worked in terms of spacing. Right. It's the same type of sets that they probably run as he ran with Chris Bosh as they run with AD sometimes, because it's probably easier to get him the ball in those spots because LeBron has to like occupy one spot on the floor. Right,
and again, in crunch time, they won't have to.
But also what you've been seeing a lot from the Lakers is a bunch of lobs. You've been seeing a ton of lobs, but go ahead.
No, I was going to say shout out to Evanston High School, Daniel Poneman, who discovered Anthony Davis as a sophomore. He was a 6'4" point guard at Prospectus High School, and then as a junior was 6'11". That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty damn gnarly. Shout out to AD, man, Chicago legend. Shout out to that man. But anyways, in terms of the Lakers, I'm looking at this team, and as I said before, I think that the Lakers are going to finish, the month of January. What are they? I think they're 17-3 right now.
17-3.
I think they're going to. I think in January. Okay, I'm not going to say that they're only going. They're going to finish 21-9, because then that means that they would lose 6 games. They probably have more than 6 games in December. I think they have 16 games in December. So I'm gonna say that the Lakers' record for the month of December is probably gonna be. I'm gonna say 500. I really think that they're going to be 500, and I think, but I think that that's 500 for them is still good. 500 for the Lakers is like 8-8 for the month of December, or like 7-6 or 8-8, whatever. That still would put them at 25 wins and 11 losses.
Right.
Getting ready to gear up into the All-Star break. That still puts them well above 15 games above 500. So I don't think that it's going to be doom and gloom for the schedule, but I do think that they are going to get tested a lot. And when they get tested, you are going to really see the true character of this team and what they can do, because I don't think that they can defend as well as people think that they can defend. And I think that they will get exposed as the season progresses. And as I said, as the cream starts to rise to the top of the crop in the West.
Well, you didn't. I'm looking at their schedule now. You listed the teams with 8 of their next 9 games on the road.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And
that's a lot.
One thing though,
that's a lot of games.
What are your thoughts? I don't really trust their supporting cast.
I
know they're playing well, but I hate to say it, but I feel like they do have a lot of players that are on the wrong side of their prime. Like, you're relying on Bradley and Rondo and a lot of guys that, it's typical of LeBron teams of the past. Yeah. It's like a lot of veterans that he has relationships with, and you compare that to like the Clippers role players, and I don't know. I mean, they're playing really well, so you got to give them credit where credit's due, but I'm worried that those guys won't be able to sustain what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I said the same thing to Pavy. I said I don't know if the Lakers will, have a formula for sustainable health, but also a formula for sustainability with these older guys, because I do think that they're going to start to fall a little bit more in and out of rhythm, which is why like a guy like KCP is big for them, and they need a guy like him to like actually start to play well. He does have some of the most mind-boggling plays that I've ever seen from a basketball player on a professional level.
He's frustrating.
Yeah, he's more frustrating to watch than J.R. Smith. And I love J.R. Smith. I think J.R. Smith's one hell of a player, but KCP is way more frustrating to watch than J.R. Smith. And I have faith in him, but he has to pull through for them. I don't think that Avery Bradley is really going to be the guy that they need in the playoffs. I think that guys like Luka, guys like Harden, guys like Westbrook, guys like Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, all of those guys are going to be able to have their way with them. I even think Jamal Murray, even though he ran a clock out the other day for no... Did you see that play where Jamal Murray caught him?
No, I missed it.
Yeah, it was at the end of the game. I forgot who they were playing. Who were they playing? Oh, the Kings. They were playing the Kings, and Jamal Murray caught the ball with like 4 seconds left, and he literally had like a 3 that he could have took, but instead of taking a 3, he ran under the basket trying to look for a pass, and the time expired, and they didn't get a chance to shoot the ball. And the game was over. Yeah. So like, I still think Avery Bradley is going to struggle against that guy. So I mean, looking at that, I mean, we'll see, kind of what it is, from their perspective. But I do think that the Lakers are in a good position. I do think that they will make the playoffs. Earlier this season, I said, it's injury dependent, because the same way you say you worry about those guys because they're older and their talent, I worry about them because of their health. You know what I mean? Avery Bradley's already had like a fractured leg. Rondo's been hurt. Kuzma
They've
is
been playing better without Bradley, though.
I mean, I agree. I
think he's kind of a little bit overrated.
I like Caruso, actually. I think I will apologize to all of y'all out there that when I said that Alex Caruso couldn't play defense. He can play defense. He does play solid defense. I was even watching him on that play when Luka was bringing the ball up the court, and then he was just like dribbling from the top of the key. He couldn't get past him. He knocked the ball out of Luka's hands, made Luka take a long three, which he just kind of threw up like a like a long layup. So I do think that he's a solid option for them. I just wish he would just go ahead and just shave his head, man. Go full Bruce Willis, bro. Come on, Alex Caruso got to turn into Bruce Willis. That's what I want to see. But anyways, let's go ahead. Let's move on.